Okay, so I guess I've just got up. So as soon as I get up, of course, the noise is up. But, you know, make of it what you will. The lady's just come out just as soon as I open the door in the place opposite, but the mobile won't pick that up, but she just happens to be there. Just as, you know, what's all these cars piled up around me here? I wonder if the orange truck will come up and make an appearance in front of me. But I think it is just lurking right there, like it's just like there, but see how that corner of my door is blocking it. And there's someone lurking behind the car here too. Actually, there's another car lurking. There's the car that's pulled up in the middle of the street. Can you see it? It'll just pull out in front as I go. These are your random stalking patrol system. That's not part of all the work, by the way. See how that car will just pull out? Can you see it just pulling out? There you go. See it? I had to open the door to show it. Oh, we have not an orange truck today. We have a great big yellow truck. Okay, but I'm folding up because this noise is going to go on for hours and hours and hours. What's all that stuff blown there? So I just thought I would try to pick it up when the sound can be picked up by the mobile. All this sound, from the minute I got up, vibrates through the house, so that you're not given a chance to even start to relax as soon as you get up. Like, you get up, get some coffee or something, and before you've even made it, before I even made the coffee, right, noise coming through the house, you know, like just when I thought, oh, maybe they won't start up for half an hour or something. But that's because they don't want your frequency and vibration or you to feel good even for a little bit, because it threatens the artificial reality and the artificial people around, because that is their reality. They like the negative vibration, they like the negative frequency, they have to have negative noise going all the time, they have to have you in their matrix. Basically, it is artificial technology, or artificially technologically intelligent human beings at an advanced level. Only advanced in the sense that it's not like some simple little talking doll that we tend to think of. It is very advanced. It is like where my thought is directly being retrieved by a person on the street. Much less the actual internet and the demigods or the successful people. Anyone who has got a successful thing going on the internet, the YouTube, or anything at all, is basically artificial. An artificially programmed human being. Programmed in the sense that you could say they're psychic, if you want to put it another way. But it's not psychic in the same way that maybe a human being should be psychic if we weren't so limited, if all my abilities weren't suppressed by being surrounded by a negative frequency matrix around me. But no, it is just where they are retrieving your every thought, interpreting them, and then using your thoughts, you know, which also involves feelings, which is why they come across as very humans, when they're really artificial beings, which means that they don't have the warmer human components in their personality. They only have dark negative components in their personality. You know what I'm saying? It's like love versus hate, that type of thing. It's the opposite, and that's why we say it's a reverse world. Even though it looks like a normal, natural human, random, even low, I was about to say that word, what is it, be it a world that does have conflict and violence and stuff in it. Sure, we know that it's never been perfect. Everyone's looking for so-called peace. Car opposite is pulling out. Can you see it? That woman was playing around in the front. Now she's going to see. These are all your programmed android beings in the cars, even though she looks like a very normal woman. See the car pulling up right in front. That's all right in front, all right around me. Literally, I'm surrounded. Every day I am surrounded wherever I go, and including in my own house. You know, because you see, if I choose not to open this door like I do, like I'll keep it closed even though I'm opening it now just to show you what's going on, but if I keep it closed, I can hear all this noise around me. I can hear everything going on. It's in my ears, and it's very loud, and it's aggressive. It's not pleasant noise. So there's nowhere for me to run or to hide, as they say. There's nowhere for a real human being to run or to hide at this end game. When I say end game, because it's a game for them, because they're playing it around me. They know what they're doing. So if they're you know, deliberately patrolling, stalking, harassing, that's what the word really is. It's intimidating, because basically you're always in fear. That same woman has pulled up the car. Can you see that this is a patrol? That same woman that got into the car and pulled up the car is now parked her car just opposite. Now she's coming back and gone into the house. The mobile won't pick that up. Oh, I should have had the door open and shown you. That's just to show you how obvious the patrolling is, because they know I can see that. But to show that to someone else, or for someone else to even care about it, well, you can't show it to people. They're also banging in that house. Can you hear this banging noises coming from that house? They're actually banging, because they know that I'm watching them, because they're watching me. But see, she's standing up on top of the thing there. Now I'll just show you, then I'll fold the thing up. If I can show it, I don't think we'll pick her up, but she's in the pink thing, moving in the house opposite. But see, there's a yellow truck now that's pulled in today, a great big yellow, and as you can see, it's a great big cement mixer with the orange jackets there. They're the army workmen. But that was much louder than that before. See, as soon as I turn the mobile off, that'll come really loud. So I'm basically nervous, because I was just going to sit down there and try to get a little bit of get my wits about me, so that I can start the day, in other words, without being so nervous that I can't do anything. But as you can see, you're never given time to do that, and they've turned that sound down now. But as soon as I turn it off, because it's programmed, see, it's not random. That's the thing about it. That's something you can't put in. But essentially, as soon as I turn the mobile off, that's what happens. They're basically monitoring your mind 24/7. The artificial beings that are around, that look like real humans and act like real humans, I say real humans to distinguish between them, okay? Because for all practical purposes, it's like if you had a whole lot of cats. You say they're all cats, they all look like cats. They might be individually look different, but even that they copy too, because they are trying so hard at this end time for real humans to not be able to tell the difference between their kind and the others, and the technical beings. The others, the technical artificial android beings, are completely copying and mimicking the real ones in particular. That's why they're studying them, watching them. You know, that truck has just gone past. I can hear it, so I'm intimidated by it. But the mobile won't pick up that sound as it slowly goes past my door, you know. But that's what they're doing. They're studying, because I see that locally. You know, where you will see, and they don't care if it's good or bad either, because they're like, well, if she's doing something that is out of place, that I would consider saying not so good, or even if I'm not presenting like for instance, because I'm in the Matrix, I probably don't care too much now. You know, you don't tend to care too much when you go out. You're like, no one likes you. Everyone's around you trying to bring you down, more or less, at all levels. When I say bring you down, I mean they are literally trying to bring you down. And quite frankly, If I could even put it more bluntly, you know, they actually do try to bring you right down and take you right out at times. You're aware of this and you wonder why they weren't able to do it, but you're still under that stress and you've still had to endure it. But I'm guessing that the reason, this is just my guess, is that even though my vibration and mood and feeling is very low and in a great state of fear a lot of the time. In fact, if I was a bit, because I'm making videos, I have to come across as confident and be aware of what I'm saying. But in reality, you are in a state of what you would call anticipating fear, anticipating something always wrong happening. And you're also never comfortable, because if you are always being patrolled, always being monitored, and even your thoughts known and being used against you, because it is being used against you if you are being made to look in a bad light, whereas they are stealing your human thoughts and using to make themselves in a good light, so that you are suppressed and unnoticed while they patrol, control, monitor, and basically suppress you and try to bring you down and actually push you out of the earth or out of the matrix. Because once they have used everything that is good about you for their benefit, you no longer serve them, because it's about control and about them utilising anything that is a benefit to them about you, because they have to mirror a real human in order to survive and in order to control and influence those other humans that are still in the earth, to control them, because basically they need your energy, they need your thoughts, they need your ideas, they need your feelings and emotions in order to emulate, copy and infiltrate and assimilate. And they have assimilated, because basically they've taken over. In fact, the actual artificial life forms, and you can put what names you like on it, but these life forms have been around for a lot longer than what people realise. All this internet and computer that we now have is new for us, or we think it is, but in reality that's just another means of them openly taking over your mind, openly reading your mind. When I turn the computer on, when I turn the TV on, that is me opening up the computer, opening up the artificial intelligent computer and interacting with it openly. We just think that it's one way, that it's for our convenience. We don't know that when we do that, we get stuff from them. They mirror back to us knowledge, and from other humans, and even our own knowledge. I see my own thoughts mirrored back to me daily by other people that are androids. My thoughts being spoken by other people on the computer, literally, before my eyes, instantly, as I think it. And also they confuse with the time, because they put the videos and people on there, which are not people, they're artificial androids. I call the better ones, the more successful, the more well-known ones, the demigods, because they are like the gods of this world, and they serve the god of this world, the number one artificial technical being that is who they really worship, and who is of their kind. Because it's like like I said many times before in the past, you could have a whole lot of different dolls, but they're all made by different people, different manufacturers. So the dolls are different, but that's not a good example, because human beings are not dolls at all, whereas an artificial being is more like a walking, talking, living, breathing artificial doll. or a doll. I mean, the human body itself is a particular body. So the artificial ones come in a real life human body. They don't come in anything that distinguishes them from a human being. And the only difference between them in many ways is that they are a completely non-positive feeling, thinking being. That's probably the only difference, if you want to put it down to it. In other words, they are psychopathic-like in nature. They have no human positive feelings or thoughts. They do not experience happiness or joy or contentment or excitement or any true laughter, shall we say. Any of the more happy types of human things. I'm trying to use the words. They would use the words better. If you go onto the computer right now or onto the internet, you will hear the demigods or other artificial people speaking exactly like me, saying all this same stuff. Because they always have to put information out there as soon as the human realises it. And especially if the human realises it and will communicate it, like I'm trying to do, even though I communicate to no one, because no one actually hears what I'm saying. And I don't care that they don't hear, but the point is that is the difference between the real and the artificial. So if you believe in an artificial technological world, you have no need to listen to me anyway. But if you think that the artificial technology is really combining with you or talking with you, and you knew it was artificial, but you knew it was there with the aim of controlling you and taking your power from you, or your natural rights from you, really. Because, it's like they will take your human rights from you, just like they patrol and try to control and do control me, because they limit what you're free to do, even though they will say you are free to go outside your door, because I am. But what's outside my door is a stalking, patrol, control system, a light and sound show that disturbs me every time. Last night when I was out, I hardly had a second where I didn't have bright lights in my eyes wherever I went. So I could not, even for a small period of time, go outside my house without lights in my eyes. So they try to control your movements by that, you see. Because they're like, well, you're better off going home and just turning the TV on and turning our demigods on, or let us openly take your thoughts from you directly onto the computer. They don't have to do that, of course, anyway, because in reality the AI is so advanced. And these beings have always, the top beings probably have always been highly intelligent. So that means they are very advanced. Like I said before, the only difference is that they are dark, dead beings by comparison with the human being, because they don't have high vibrational thinking. They don't experience or don't tolerate. It's not part of their makeup or part of their being. They're an artificially created being in a way, in the sense that they don't experience any feelings or emotions that normal human beings consider to be the best thing about living. Their idea of living is total control, total suppression. They consume human negative energy for their own survival, because they have they've kind of they've got to the point where they need energy sources to keep going, because positive and negative are very different. And don't get me wrong, I'm not really an expert on this at all, and don't fully understand. I understand it, but I also don't understand it. I don't understand it at a technical or scientific level in any way, but I see it happening to me daily. So I try to put it in just normal terms as I experience it. Because the minute I was told that everything is frequency, vibration and energy, and that the human being, therefore, is capable of the highest frequency and vibration, and therefore they can bring into being, because the human thought creates the reality, they can bring into being the potential for a better reality, or at least a higher vibrational reality. You see, better and worse depends on your denomination. In other words, what species you are, what type of being you are. If you're an artificial dead dark being, a high frequency so-called perfect world is not their version of a perfect world at all. Theirs is where the human being is very unhappy all the time, and they are draining that unhappy energy from the human being while they survive, and they are then able to get about their business. And that is to extract more energy from more human beings. It's a vicious cycle. It's a cycle. That is their world. That is what this Earth Matrix is, and I don't think I explained it well. And they have just consumed enormous energy now, because I only intended to film just a few seconds of that sound to show that it's continual. And look at me. I have obsessively rambled on because, of course, it plays on me. But this has taken a lot of energy. I feel depleted even now just making the video, and I didn't even get to finish my coffee. This was from the minute I woke up, and notice how it's gone silent now too. I'm allowed to ramble on, so it looks as though I'm making it up, but as soon as I turn it off, but they'll be there all day making that noise around. And if I go out, then you've got other problems. Like I say, if it's dark, you've got this. And also there were workmen even on the street down there last night, but I don't take the mobile out of it. I just haven't got the energy to film all the time. I haven't, and it's pointless, because it just is futile, because it is really, I don't even know why I'm even doing it in a way. It just gets it off my chest, but also, if there was just, say, one person, someone actually said this to me last night, because the androids read your thoughts, so they have to. And I say this was I just bumped into these people when I was crossing the lights, and they reiterated my thoughts back, because they're like, well, she knows it's game over, so it's down to one person. They said, well, that's what we do, if we can just help one person. But they are the artificial ones saying that. So real humans will interact with them and believe they're the real ones, while I am suppressed on the street and are only talking to artificial ones and cannot find even another real person. And even if I do, you are so much looking for the signs. How do you tell the difference between a real person and a great actor? Most of the time you probably go for the great actor, because they'll put it together, they'll put a performance on for you where you'll think they're more real than the real. The real will be like me, so agitated and angry because I'm suppressed and stalked, that I will come across as someone who isn't. Even if they think you're real, they think, well, she's a little bit agitated, she's a little bit angry, she's not exactly happy and spreading the happy word. No, because I don't feel happy. So then they can spread the happy word, or pretend they are, more this and more that, more caring, more kind, more compassionate, more understanding, more loving, more this, but I don't even feel those things, even though they're stealing my thoughts, and I'm the only one who wants that. They don't really want that, but they mirror and copy that off real humans in order to infiltrate, influence and control and have relationships with real human beings. Whether it's a relationship through the computer and the internet and technology, or whether it's a direct one-on-one personal interaction, even though it really, all of it is an interaction between, if you are a real life person who doesn't want to combine with technology and doesn't want to interact with the artificial intelligence and doesn't want to have relationships with that and doesn't believe that that is a future that benefits a human being. There are many human beings even who will be convinced that it is a benefit to combine with artificial intelligence. We know this. It's too late. And even the demigods will tell you that. Some of the more informing ones that are like, there is a word for that, where they pretend that they are giving you information to save mankind, but they are actually like working for the control system, and they benefit from it. They're usually well off, and they but they will do that once again to lure and seduce real humans into believing in them and following them one way or the other, or at least listening to them, thinking that they are speaking the truth, and they are speaking the truth. The truth will be used really against humans in the end time like it is now, because the truth will be spoken through the demigods, the well-known people, those that have influence, those that, even if their popularity may vary as to the number of people that they seduce in, but it doesn't matter, because they're all looking for human beings, and there aren't that many human beings left. And if you are, supposing you're even more suspicious like myself, supposing you have become more awake and aware of what's going on, then particular demigods of particular levels will target you to get you to believe that you are real. It's a very, when you see it taking place, as I see it taking place every day, because when they target you very extensively, you can't help but either go completely bonkers, and you do go bonkers anyway, but it's whether you know why you're going bonkers, you see. They want you to go bonkers and think it's all in your head, or that it's something else. They don't want you to see what the reason is why you really feel out of touch, and why you feel out of balance, and why you can't function properly. They want you to imagine all sorts of things that aren't true. But if you do see the reality, then they just target you more extensively. They just try to control you and suppress you and limit you and keep you separated from any possibility of connecting with someone of your own kind. Not only your own kind, but someone of your own kind who isn't totally suppressed by this system that's around you and around them, to where they're at least aware that there are dark negative forces working against them. Whether they will realise how many people are part of it is what I see as the main problem. Because some people, even that are aware that they are in a negative world, and that there are some people that they should avoid, they don't realise how many people they need to avoid, how vast it is, that they are literally surrounded by people who are just acting to be their friend, acting to be their confidant, and they want you to confide to them too. That's another thing. Just as real humans should be confiding to one another, but more than likely we will be confiding to the artificial android race of beings instead of the human race. Because, those that are part of technology, though, even if you become very technological in nature, once you start to believe even the internet, those that are on the internet, the computer, and you believe everything it tells you, even if you're a real human like myself, and this has happened to me too, I will say this, until I realised that it was, because I thought, there's good and there's bad on the internet, just like there is good and bad in reality, or in what's around you, but you don't realise that you don't realise the numbers game, and you know. But when I first used to go onto the computer, because I was getting truth, of course, off the computer, and then I was then attracted to those that were telling the truth, because you think, oh, they're the truth seekers, they're the truth tellers. But you don't realise that they are merely always keeping one step ahead of the real humans, so they are telling the real humans even the truth, because they know that some humans know the truth. So they have to separate you from your own kind, or those that have a positive vibration, or the potential for a positive frequency and vibration, or a potential and a need and a want to be happy, not to be in the lower negative, more, I say, anti-life mentality. But essentially you're talking about the difference between, if you want to put it just at a mind or a psychological level, the different races of beings are the difference between artificial and real, or essentially like between a psychopathic type of mind, in other words the mind of a total psychopath, versus the mind of a regular normal human being. And that's basically it in a nutshell, and that's it. And we know this, except that we don't realise that it is an artificial reality created by the human mind, but controlled by the artificial God and its demigods and its players, and it's like a stage play that is around real humans in order to control them so that they can consume energy from them. But it must be negative energy. See, and human beings don't want to be in negative energy, they want to be in positive. They don't want to be sad, they don't want to be unhappy, they want to be happy. But they can only consume the negative energy, unless of course you openly admire, worship and serve them directly without question. In other words, total control. So it's either consuming or both even, but probably a bit of both in for some people, depending on how negative they can bring your mind down. But essentially it's about total control and total and the total control is about keeping you in an unhappy state of mind, so that they can consume the unhappy energy from you, which sustains them, gives them life, and keeps them in control, and also gives them their energy, because they're the same way a human being feels better when they're happy and has more energy and thinks they can do more. And perhaps I don't think most human beings have probably ever been at their highest level. Maybe some have. But most of us, like myself, are at our lowest. We talk a lot like now, but in reality, I'm always feeling bad, not feeling happy. That is, how can it be? If you are stalked and patrolled and controlled by a light and a sound and a psychological show that is waged against you daily, how can you be happy? You can't be. You would need to go right into yourself and obliterate and be in this world but not of this world, as the saying used to go. And doing that requires you to be at a very high spiritual level, which usually the matrix, like with myself, they get to you before you can even remotely raise your vibration, much less get to a higher spiritual level. And that's how the game works. And so like now, I'm drained of energy and exhausted. But the demigods will play at that too. They will be exhausted. They will pretend they are the triers. Everything a human being does, they will emulate, mirror and copy in order to get the real humans to support them, or to waste time on them, rather than knowing where their real companions or their real confidants or their real supporters should be, because it's a game of separation. That is the main thing, because the higher vibrations, happy will always override unhappy at a frequency and vibration level, putting it that way. And that is just basically it. I know this is what I believe in, and this is what all human beings know is so. They know it too. The artificial ones know it too, but they know if they can get their large numbers around potentially happy human beings, that their unhappy way of thinking, their technological mind will be supreme. It will override the human being, because it's only the human being's ability or potential to be happy is always there, and that's what they want. But this whole reality, as we know, it is a little bit of a, we know that the world is always got a lot of problems, and this is basically why. Because the minute we separated from truth and was seduced by the artificial one, basically we were separated from our potential happy paradise, if you want to put it that way. You know, that's actually it. And that's the way it is. And what we can do about it, or individual people surrounded by all this artificial reality, finding it very hard to do anything to get back to that little happiness, finding it impossible. And the artificial ones know this, because they are in vast numbers, and even if they aren't in vast numbers converge around the real life, to where it's a bit like if I'm in this area where I'm surrounded by 120,000 people that I know have intentionally combined around me. But that also doesn't allow for the reality that they can bring in people from other areas, because if people agree with something, it's a bit like a religion. If you are of the same denomination, you bring in more people into your religion, and people who have the same beliefs will combine without question, you know, to suppress those that they think don't have the same beliefs. It's like that. That's putting it at a kind of religious level, which it is, but it also is essentially the technology, and the technological God is the religion. But it is masked and disguised in this reality as real religions, whereas it's really just a front for something else. It's a bit like in the old days where you had a normal friendly shop selling goods, camouflaging, say, something in the back room where they were doing other activities that were not legal. It's a bit like that. It's exactly the same thing, you know. Those in the front that are in the front, that's there to get the real humans in, you see, or at least so that the real humans won't know what's taking place in the back room. And that's like in the old movies where you used to see that, an innocent shop camouflaging the true, illegal activities, what a human being classes illegal activities going on in the back rooms. And that's what it really was, because the shop in the front, or the religion, is the front for the real activities, or what the real religion really is, which is essentially technological beings, trying to either seduce or suppress, both really, but sometimes it's through seduction, sometimes it's open suppression, depending on what they can get away with or accomplish. They will target each individual human being on what their merit is, as they see them, what they think they, and that changes over a lifetime. The things that would have worked on me to seduce or to suppress me were not going to work over the last few years, so now they have to bring in the total patrol, control, very anti-life, very suppressing matrix around, because they know that they can no longer seduce with the trickery of the one-on-one relationships, because I've become aware of the psychopathic, artificial nature of 9 out of 10 people around me. So, you know, that's just the way it is. So that's why I've explained that, and I'm exhausted. So I'm saying I'm exhausted, but that's just a deliberate depletion of energy, even in getting me to make the video, because actually now I am drained for the rest of the day. So that's the trade-off. And if the video was seen by all the humans and all of a sudden I had support and they woke up to the reality, it would be worth the draining of the energy. But when you're just basically filming it for yourself, and I'm just explaining things as they happen daily, trying to make the points, but I see it, I know it's so. But to explain this to another human being, you have to see it for yourself. You have to experience it for yourself. That's why the rest of the time you will just buy into the computer and those you see on the computer, and that is the bottom line truth, reality of it. Because unless you see it for yourself and realise how advanced and how much control has taken place, and how you will be deceived by these actors, because they are, as I've said before, exactly the same as your greatest Academy Award winning actors that you see on the screen. And you know how we idolise and enjoy watching them. Or even your entertainers, same thing, it doesn't matter, in the fields that we think are essentially pleasant and beneficial, shall we say. We're sort of aware in the power game of the real world, like with, you know, with your environment around you, that it is more of a power game. Some believe more in that, but you generally tend to think, oh, you know, it can't all be kind of what you'd say malevolent or nefarious or sinister and dark. It can't be, but it is. It is. It's a dead, dark, controlled reality. The only thing that even has a possibility is a human being's little happy heart. That just come to me. But that is being suppressed and made into an unhappy heart daily. That is the name of the game. Putting it bluntly, that's all it is. And that is something that is so simple and you'd think would be so easy to achieve, but not so easy. That's why they say that some people have to be incredibly enlightened and at a level where they are beyond the earth or beyond what's around them. But you know, we are meant to perceive things through our senses. This is the whole thing. This is meant to be our little reality in a way. You know, while we're here, it's meant to be our reality. So we're meant to enjoy the things that our sight and sound and our senses take in. But we're not allowed to by the artificial ones around. They control you through the senses, so you have to be like those, some sort of enlightened guru that is beyond it. But, you know, if you really think about that, it's just about the human being being happy versus the artificial one's need to keep you unhappy. Because they don't experience that. You could say they're unhappy all the time, but they're content in their unhappiness. They're not content because it's a frequency vibration battle, you see. So it's low frequency versus high frequency, or potential high frequency. Unhappiness versus happiness. The artificial ones are content in a controlled, artificial, unhappy reality. Normal human beings just want to have some sort of happiness, whatever that be for each person. That's the game. That's the kind of psychological war and physical war that is actually taking place between real people, or happy people and unhappy people, who are basically technological in nature. And technology will create unhappiness, even though it will speak the truth, even though it will be seductive, even though it will appear to be a support for a human being. You go onto the internet, you will get advice of how to make yourself happy. And so you will say, how can that be bad? Because you will see that it makes sense. I have received, I could turn on inspirational videos. I've done that to try to motivate myself to get through the day. And I have to keep telling myself that I'm being told this by artificial beings. I'm not being told it directly or having direct communication with another real human being who really is happy or who wants to be happy. And that's the trick game that is played against me, unfortunately. And at a physical level, because they know other human beings and they know where you're going and they try to control your movements, your thinking, they separate you deliberately daily from any potential of finding that one in, whatever the numbers are in my area. And it may not even be in my area, but they will try to keep me from another real human being that wants to be happy. They will make sure that we're in different suburbs, in different areas, in different places. And if you did chance meet a real human, but you probably wouldn't recognise them as any different from the great actors of the Matrix. They may not look like great actors, a lot of the people around. They may not. But they are still camouflaging what they really are. They're camouflaging the fact that they do not want human beings to raise their vibration or be happy in any way, even in the littlest ways. That's why they do the silly, petty, what you'd say unnecessary things to make you upset. This is what I found. This is what has surprised me, because I'm like, why are they stopping me from such stupid little things that don't even make me that happy? They're like, well, it may not make you that happy, but it's something, and we won't let you have anything. They're that controlling, the android beings. And if humans knew how really destructive and how much they really scan your movements, scan your thinking, and how really controlling and dead and dark they really are, they would run a mile and want to, you wouldn't believe how negative it really is. Even I find living hard just knowing that this is what is around me and knowing that this is what the situation is. And it's a fear-driven reality, and it's fear in my mind, and then that doesn't get me on top to where I can mentally suppress what's around me, because I'm always living in fear. And it sounds dramatic, and it sounds as though, oh well, but it really is just what's happened. And what will, you probably, all I can really say is you have to have some sort of faith of something, some sort of hope, even though it looks hopeless. That saying that I said a few years ago from that movie called "The situation is hopeless but not serious," that's almost the mindset that you have to try to adopt. But in the face of reality, that sounds good. That's like motivational advice from the internet and from the demigods, or from, even if you got advice from someone you were just speaking to. Sounds good, but putting it into practice, not so easy.